Yo, what's poppin'? So today we are going to talk about the London Spitfire and what they are doing, kind of defying the meta so far in the Overwatch League. So London, of course, being mostly Sparker, Backbone, Hottie, Admiral, Landon. Shax did play a match, or played a map, Route 66 against Boston this week, and Poco played a map on Watchpoint Gibraltar against Shock, I think. So that was good. But yeah, we've seen them enjoying Rush, being Rush enjoyers as they have known to be. But it is a little more interesting, in my opinion, in Overwatch 2 than Overwatch 1 because in Overwatch 1 it was a very defined composition that a lot of other teams were making use of at different on different maps at different points. Uh, and it was a lot more. You knew what you were getting. But in this Overwatch 2 beta, no other team is really doing the rush, so it's not really evident like what's happening and what's like that it's good, right? It's off meta because the teams are running the monkey comps, teams are running the Zarya comps, uh, and the only thing is they're still running the soldier because soldier is so strong on their patch, right? But it's different, right? It's actually like fresh. It's very interesting. No other team's doing it, right? And this sort of uh, different composition, a different play style, is maybe what's leading them to rise above some of the bottom teams that we expected them to be at because it's London, they're rush players, they're going to be low, right? But they've kind of proven that they're above that, and I think it's because they're leaning into their strengths, right? So London, um, they lose to Shock 3-0. Shock's a really good team. No shame there. None. They beat Vancouver 3-0 pretty decisively. Uh, Very good for them, right? Kind of sets the tone for where they should be in this season. That's the tone of where Vancouver is. Um, and then 3-1 against Boston. Uh, Very close Coliseum. They almost won out. Route 66, they play Shax. They play a little bit of dive, and then they play Rush, I believe, for the bottom two. And they set the tone again. They've raised the bar for them again. This weekend, they end up playing Houston. Maybe they raise that bar even higher. Right now, I'd say most people have Houston on top, but uh, you know, maybe they beat them. So we talk about like why is this Rush doing well? Well, obviously, this is a team built for Rush, right? You have Hottie, you have Sparker. Well, Sparker's more for the soldier, right? Right now, and Backbone playing May mostly, but Admiral Landon, good supports. But the main reason you're playing Rush is Hottie on Ryan, right? So it didn't work against Shock. Just a good team, right? But against Vancouver, they really just ran at them. That's what Rush does, right? They ran them down. False was trying Doomfist. False was trying Monkey, but you just run at them. And you think the lack of a diva would make Ryan worse, but Ryan is so tanky that he's not really. It's almost not valid to try and kill the Reinhardt. You have to go for the like you can't focus Ryan. Before you would be like, oh, just make that Reinhardt be unable to play the game now. That's a much harder task despite losing a tank, right? So the Reinhardt can play the game much more. His shatters struggling at times, especially this match to land, but that's crazy. But if they're winning, they're winning pretty significantly without shatter, in a again in a meta where shatter should be very easy to land, at least on a target. So that's interesting. And here they the rush down Coliseum, very close, almost works. They were in the lead, I believe, for a pretty significant amount of time. Uh, they just end up running it down on rush. But the interesting thing here is it's not that they're locked into rush, right? We saw them play monkey on Route 66 against Vancouver. We saw them play the monkey with Shax, right? on Route 66 against Boston, so they're not locked into Rush, right? They've made this conscious effort to focus on Rush because they believe that's what elevates them as a team, right? Yeah, maybe Monkey is better objectively, but for a team like London, we're not expecting them to punch up to like top half even, right? So for them, it's better to focus their energies into the rush, get better that way, than it is to be like Vancouver or New York maybe, who are down here and they're playing meta, but they are not looking good. They're losing to all the other guys on meta. If Vancouver, maybe if Vancouver plays false on the Zarya more, or maybe they put him on Diva, right? And they try and pioneer Diva comps or somehow, and they figure out their way to make themselves a competitive team using maybe an unorthodox method, but they're not. They're playing meta. They are losing very badly, and they're not even interesting to watch. Dallas, or not Dallas, London, playing Rush. It's interesting because it's different. They're bringing something different to the table every match, right? Well, not like relative to the league, every match you're getting Rush. But speaking of Dallas, they're kind of doing it with Zarya. I'd say they're the best Zarya composition in the league. We see other teams play Zarya, right? We see it come out every now and then. Shock, Glads did it one time, I think. So Toronto do it, I believe. Yeah, I played Hoppa Zarya. But Dallas is the one that's really like making a stand on it. So Dallas kind of doing it similarly at the top level, maybe. But London showing that maybe these teams should be going outside the box a little bit, not just being meta slaves. And so, how is this composition winning against teams like Boston? It's a good question. It's a good question. Well, how do you beat Rush? You land fat antes. That comp sustains well, right? You hit the ante, it can't sustain well. If they find a way to mitigate the antes being hit, then they should be in a good position. So maybe part of that. What else? You dive the back line. I don't know. What does Monkey do against Reinhardt? Nothing. Reinhardt is so hard to kill. Like I said, you can't really focus him down. So yeah, London's just they're just rolling. They're not. Well, it was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty much a roll at times. Root was Root was kind of close, I believe, but I think London looked like the better team the whole time. So I don't know. It's kind of rough, but can definitely see like it's much more interesting, right? Much more diverse, and I definitely think some teams at the near the bottom, maybe some Paris. Maybe if you're Paris, you try to find a way to make Glister the star of your show even more because he is the best tool on this roster for sure. And right now he's on the Soldier. Maybe, and I don't know. I'm not sure what else you do because you would think this should be an all right meta for Paris, looking at their guys. Maybe maybe you copy London a little bit, put Dawn on Rhine. Maybe Vestola pulls up and plays some. Well, they're playing a lot of Zarya already, but maybe they also go to the Diva. Maybe I don't know. It's hard to say, right? Who knows? You saw New York trying to do that in week one, maybe with Yaki on the Echo, stuff like that. Boston needs to figure out what they're doing with their tanks. They're flipping, flopping everyone. If Punk's in on Monkey, something's up, right? They are too fixated on trying to play the best composition that they're not playing the better composition for them, probably. So London, I don't really have anything else to say. It should be interesting watching them maybe play Rush this whole season, so we'll get a feel of where Rush is right now on the landscape. But yeah, that's it for me. I am planning on releasing a video about for a preview for the APAC teams. Hopefully that'll come out Thursday, I'm thinking. Kind of give an overview of what these teams are doing, what I think they'll look like. Uh, Not gonna do a PR. Maybe I will at the end of that video, but it'll be very loose. But yeah, not sure what I'm gonna do tomorrow, but whatever. So that's it for London. That's it for me. Like, subscribe. Have a good one. Deuces.